Hi there. Welcome to another week, another flow with me. So glad to have you here. So, for this week, the name of the game is mobility. We are getting into some mobility with our hips, getting into mobility with our arms as well. Just really trying to open up to release some cricks and cracks to build a little bit more fluid movement. So some of these are going to be a little bit different because I am incorporating yoga asanas, yoga poses into a flow of sorts that is geared towards mobility in your hips as well as in your shoulders as well. So really just trying to get into some different types of joint movements. It's a lot easier to show you versus trying to explain it. So that's what we're going to get into. We are getting into it right now. As always, take what you need. If something doesn't serve you, then just move on, or maybe take a second, regroup, pause, and then try to come back into it. You don't have to go right head first into something. You can always take a beat. But let's get going.
All right, so this mobility flow is really interesting. It's going to be a different try on. Definitely just take it one piece at a time. You don't have to go all the way. So first we're going to start in a stable chair. Stable chair is going to be your feet hip width apart, and you're going to be about halfway in the middle of your mat. On your exhale, come to drinking bird. Come to the balls of your feet. Press into your big toe mounds. Now, as you are here, you're descending your hips towards your heels until your hips are in line with your knees. Then you send your knees forward gently into the ground, coming into camel pose, Ustrasana. You can let your hands come to your heels or let them come to your low back. And you're keeping your hips in line with your knees, so sending your hips forward. Then to come out of this, tuck your chin to your chest. Now we're going to roll over back on our toes, coming back into drinking bird. So you got to kind of leverage and use the momentum. And then from drinking bird back to stable chair. So a lot of different things. Definitely take as wide of a stance as you need. I recommend hip width apart just because it does help. You don't want your feet too narrow or too wide. So just going to try this one more time. On your inhale, come to stable chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Now, keep pressing into your big toe mounds as you sink your hips lower. As soon as your hips are in line with your knees, send them forward into the mat, coming into camel pose or supported back bend. Tuck your chin to your chest first to get out of this, and then rolling onto your toes, you're squeezing through your glutes to send your glutes back, but not too far back, coming into drinking bird, and then lowering your heels for stable chair. So you'll definitely feel this opening a lot of different areas, but maybe just take it one stance at a time. You don't have to flow all the way through, just maybe one at a time. All right, we're going to start in child's pose, Balasana. Bring your big toes to touch, your knees wide. Now sink your hips towards your heels as you stretch your hands towards the top of your mat and just breathe here. Just let yourself integrate right here, right now into your practice. Just whatever came up before you started coming onto your mat, just take a deep breath in. Exhale, just let it go. You're on your mat, you're about to practice. Nothing else matters except what you do here. Start to come into a twisted child's pose. Start to walk your left hand towards your right hand and let your right hand come all the way to the mat. So maybe even rest your left hand on top of your right. Keep sinking your left glute towards your left side of glutes towards your left heel to keep opening through your left side body. Breathing in. Breathing out. Start to walk your hands back through center, letting your hands both reach forward, and then start to walk your left hand over to the left side of your mat, and then let your right hand bring itself on top of your left hand. Keep sinking your right set of glutes towards your right heel. As you open up through your right side body, really feel as you anchor your right glutes towards your right heel, just feel the opening in your right side body. Inhale, back to center. Coming up through tabletop. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. We're going to take some cat and cow a little bit differently. Bring your left foot out. Make sure your left toes are pointed forward and make sure that your foot is in a parallel line with your knee. On your next inhale, half cow pose. Drop your belly, let your tailbone and gaze come high. Exhale, half cat pose. Press the floor away. Do a couple rounds of this at your own pace. Your breath can be as long or as short as you want. Drop your left hip in line with your right, or if your left hip can't go lower, maybe draw your right hip up in line with your left. Try to keep your hips level. One more round of this just to equal out. Take it to your biggest expression as you can. And then come to a neutral tabletop. Bring your left knee into your side. Now bring your right foot out to the side, right toes pointed towards the front of your room, and then your foot is in a direct line with your knee. Inhale for half cow pose. Exhale for half cat pose. As you press your hands into the mat to push your shoulders up to the sky, away from the ground, really try to feel your shoulder blades spread open, either lifting your left hip in line with your right or dropping your right hip in line with your left. One more round of breath just to equal out. And then go ahead and bring your right knee back in next to your left. On your next inhale, we're going to come to Yogi squat. I know it's soon, but bear with me. To come into Yogi squat malasana, bring your left foot behind your left hand and then your right foot behind your right hand. Press into your hands and then drop your hips down. Bring your hands to heart center. Maybe have like a block or a stack of books on hands so that way you can set your glutes on something. This is just like trying to get maybe 50% into your squat. Press your elbows into your inner thighs and your inner thighs into your elbows to help your spine lengthen. Bring your hands down to the mat. Gently push your hips to the sky, coming to a sort of forward fold. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, ragdoll. Let your hands come to your elbows. Rock back and forth. If you need to widen your feet here for a moment, go for it. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Then bring your hands down to the mat for forward fold. All right, from forward fold, on your next inhale, halfway lift. Just reset your spine, palms to shins or thighs. Exhale, forward fold again. Bring your left foot to the back of your mat, come down on your left knee. Inhale your arms up for Crescent Moon, grounded Anjaneyasana. Press through your right foot and then untuck your toes. We're going to do a little bit of a flow here. On your next inhale, cactus your arms and send your knee forward. Try to send it forward as much as you can. Exhale, straighten your arms and then draw your knee back into a 90-degree angle. So on the exhale, you're pushing your hands towards each other and then inhale, cactus arms. Inhale, cactus arms, knee forward. Exhale, 90-degree knees, arms reaching forward. Just a couple more times here. And then on your next exhale, come to half splits. Send your hips back as you hinge over your leg. Now, this is really important here. You're not trying to sink your left hip towards your left foot. You're really bending through your hips or bending into your hinge. Maybe even rock your right toes left and right a little bit just to help open up your right hip area. Inhale, start to tuck your toes, lift your left foot up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, reach up high to the sky, press down through your feet, slightly tuck your tailbone. Exhale, back bend, Anuvatasana. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Send your hips forward as much as you can, but don't push it. Inhale, back up to mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, low lunge. Draw your right toes to the back of your mat. Come down on your right knee. Inhale, crescent moon on the left side this time. Now we're going to flow this on the left. On your next inhale, cactus your arms, bend your left knee forward as much as you can. Exhale, draw your knees back to 90-90, straighten in your arms. You've got this. Inhale, cactus, send your knee forward. Exhale, come back, straighten through your leg or through your arms. Inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, half splits, hands down to the mat, send your hips back. Now, again, try to draw your hips back and hinge from there. Maybe use your left thumb to help draw your left hip back down if your left hip comes up. Let your left toes go to the left and to the right, just to open up through your left hip area. On your next inhale, tuck your toes, come through kind of a halfway lift, lift your right foot, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, back up to mountain. Exhale, forward fold. That is our Sun A. We're going to do breath to movement next. All right, on your next inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins or thighs. Exhale, low lunge, draw your left foot back, left knee down. Inhale, crescent moon. We're not going to do the flow. Cactus out your arms, send your knee forward. Exhale, half splits, hands down to the ground, sink your hips back, flex your right toes. Inhale, up through, halfway lift into forward fold on your exhale. Inhale, mountain, reach up. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right toes back, right knee down. Inhale, crescent moon, reach your arms up. Cactus your arms, send your left knee forward. Exhale, half splits. Inhale, up through halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose one last time. Exhale, baby back bend, biggest one yet. Inhale, mountain, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, listen for the change. Exhale, high plank, top of a push-up. Hold here, press down through your hands, and then come down to your knees, lower down, knees, chest, and then your chin. Bring your hands next to your lower set of ribs. We're setting up for baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Take an inhale on the ground. Exhale, squeeze your shoulders forward and up. Maybe your hands hover. Keep pressing into the tops of your feet. Look no more than 6 inches in front of you. Exhale, lower down, belly resting. Maybe come onto your right cheek and let your hands come by your sides. Just reset your spine. Setting up for full cobra this time. Maybe your hands hover, or if you want to do full cobra, on your next exhale, push the floor away, press through the tops of your feet, coming into full cobra. Now right here, slightly tuck your tailbone, roll your shoulders onto your back to protect your low back and open up through your front line. On your next exhale, lower down. Maybe take windshield wiper legs, bending your knees, letting them come to the left and to the right. Now bring your hands off of your mat, make cupcake fingers. So press your fingertips into the mat. Make sure that your hands are in line with your shoulders. On your next inhale, push into your fingertips and roll your shoulders first forward and then up. Let your head come up last. Your elbows are 90-degree angles here, so don't go any higher than that. Option to stay center, or maybe drop your right shoulder down towards the ground. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, drop your left shoulder down to the ground. Do this one more time on each side if you choose. When we come out of this, we're going to come back to our bellies first and then come to a high plank. No chaturanga, but feel free to take it now if you choose. When you're ready, on your next exhale, lower down. Bring your hands next to your underneath your shoulders. Inhale, push up to high plank or tabletop. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Your first downward facing dog of this flow. So maybe take a bend into one knee and then the other. And then on your inhale, bend deep into both knees. And then re-straighten. Look towards the top of your thighs to really help send your hips up to the sky. Press into your fingertips and breathe. All right, on your next inhale, look forward. Exhale, forward fold. Make sure your feet are at least hip width apart. On your next inhale, stable chair. Press deep through all 4 corners of your feet. Sink your hips down and back as you reach your arms up for this version of Utkatasana. See if you can slightly tuck your tailbone just a little bit. Exhale, chair with airplane arms. Let your palms face towards each other and then try to draw them towards each other and lift them up through your triceps. Inhale, lift your left foot up towards the back of your mat. Exhale, land in crescent lunge with airplane arms. Inhale, crescent with cactus arms. We've been here before. We're going to do a flow just like we did in our Sun A. Inhale here. Exhale, straighten through your right knee, bend through your left. Your palms come to touch in front of you for standing half splits. Inhale, crescent, bend through your right knee. Exhale, bend through your left knee. Inhale, right knee. Exhale, left knee. Inhale, cactus arms. Listen for the change. Exhale, warrior two. Open up, spin your back foot flat, arms out to 3 and 9 o'clock. Squeeze your outer thigh muscles, your glute muscles to help open up your knee to the right a little more. Another big change here. On your next inhale, skandasana to the back of your mat, dragon lunge. You're going to bend through your left knee as you sink your hips back. Maybe your hands come down to the mat for this first dragon lunge. Option to flex your right toes and spin on your heel or keep your right foot pressed into the mat. Take another inhale here. Exhale, low lunge to the front of your mat. So your hands come to the top of your mat, bend through your right knee. Inhale, low lunge twist, left hand down, right arm up high. Keep your right arm and left arm in line with each other. Press down through your left hand as you squeeze your shoulders onto your back. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high plank, top of a push-up. Exhale, downward facing dog. If you want to take a chaturanga, go for it. All right, inhale, look forward. Exhale, forward fold, wide chair. On your next inhale, make sure your feet are hip width apart. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, lift your right foot up, slowly drop it to the back of your mat for crescent lunge with airplane arms on the left side. Make sure that you're stable here, and then inhale, crescent lunge with cactus arms. We're going to take that other flow here. So remember, you're alternating the bend in your knees, depending on the leg. So inhale, left knee is bent. Exhale, right knee is bent, palms come to touch. Inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, straight arms. Inhale, left knee bends. Exhale, right knee bends. Inhale, cactus arms. Exhale, warrior two. Spin your back foot flat, bend through your left knee, squeeze and engage your left glute muscles to help open up your left knee to the right. On your next inhale, skandasana to the back of your mat. You're bending through your right knee, sinking your hips back, either rolling over your left heel to flex through your left toes or keep your left foot pressed into the mat. Take another inhale here. Exhale, low lunge to the top of your mat. Inhale, low lunge twist, right hand down, left arm reaches up. Squeeze your inner thighs in towards each other and really try to draw your left hip back to twist a little bit deeper here. On your next exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Amazing work with your Sun B. We'll go breath to movement now on the next round. All right, we're going to do this breath to movement now. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, wide forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, reach your arms up. Exhale, chair with airplane arms. Inhale, lift your left foot towards the back of your mat. Land in crescent lunge, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge, cactus arms. Exhale, straighten your right knee only once. Inhale, crescent lunge, cactus arms. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, skandasana to the back of your mat. Bend your left knee, maybe go a little lower. Exhale, low lunge, top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arm up, low lunge twist. Exhale, back to low lunge. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a round of breath here, and then we'll do the other side. Look forward, come to forward fold, top of your mat, widen your stance. Inhale, stable chair. Exhale, chair with airplane arms. Inhale, lift your right foot up towards the back of your mat, land in crescent lunge, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge, cactus arms, bend your left knee. Exhale, straighten your left knee, arms reach front. Inhale, crescent lunge, cactus arms. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, skandasana to the back of your mat, bend your right knee. Exhale, low lunge, top of your mat. Inhale, low lunge, twist, right arm down, left arm up. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Reset here. All right, we're going to do a little bit more opening. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, forward fold. Make sure your feet are hip width apart. Inhale, stable chair. We're going to do a little bit of a flow. Exhale, drinking bird. Come to the balls of your feet as you sweep your arms back for airplane arms. Make sure that your weight is in your big toes. Squeeze your inner thighs in towards each other even though they're not touching. Exhale, lower down to malasana. Sink your hips down. Bring your elbows to your inner thighs. Hands to heart center. This is going to be a flow. We're going to flow between these postures. Bring your hands down to the mat. Push your hips up. Come to a forward fold. Inhale, stable chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Come to the balls of your feet. Inhale, sink down to malasana, yogi squat. Exhale, hands to the mat. Press up to forward fold. One more time through. Inhale, stable chair. Reach your arms up. Biggest expression yet, drinking bird. Exhale, bring your arms back. Come maybe a little bit higher on the balls of your feet. Inhale, malasana, yogi squat. Sink your hips down, hands to heart center. Option to stay here a little bit longer if you choose. When you're ready to move on, bring your hands down to the mat. Step your feet back to high plank and then lower all the way down to your belly. Maybe take knees, chest, chin as I'm doing. We're going to do half bow on each side. So Urdhva Dhanurasana, technically Ardha Dhanurasana. Bring your right forearm parallel to the top of your mat. Your left foot comes close to your left glutes and then bring your left hand towards the outside of your left foot. You're going to kick your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot. Try to kick your foot up. Try to lift your left quad up off the ground. Bring your forearms to touch. Come down to crocodile. Just let your forehead rest on your forearms. Maybe wiggle your hips left and right. We're going to come to half bow on the other side. Bring your left forearm parallel to the top of your mat and then bring your right foot to your right glute. Reach your right hand back for the outside of your right foot or your ankle. Kick your foot up and back on your exhale for half bow. Try to lift your right quad up off the ground. Squeeze your right glute to help facilitate this. One more inhale. Exhale, release your foot, lower down. Take another crocodile, maybe bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet. When you're done, when you're ready to move on, when you've had enough rest, on your next inhale, push back up to high plank, top of a push-up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Well done. Take a round of breath. Reset. All right, on your next inhale, lift your right leg up high to the sky, down dog kick. Exhale, low lunge, foot in between your hands. Bring your right foot closer to your right hand. Stagger your stance a bit more. Inhale, regular crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Reach your arms up high to the sky. Bend through your right knee. On your next exhale, Shiva squat. Bring all of your weight to your front right foot as you bring your left knee behind your right knee. Chamber your left knee behind your right knee as you squeeze your inner thighs in towards each other. Either bring your hands down to the mat or maybe you bring your hands to heart center. Take one more inhale. Stay for the exhale. We're coming into half moon. If you have a block, as I do, bring it towards your right foot and then lift your left leg up in line with your torso. Flex your left toes, reach your left arm up. Turn your torso towards the left side of your mat. Press down through your right foot. Squeeze your right glutes to help you balance. One more inhale. Exhale, land in horse pose. Your left foot comes to the back of your mat. Bend your knees, sink your hips down. Maybe you use your hands to make sure that your tailbone is pointed down towards the ground, and then bring your hands to heart center. We're going to come to eagle arms. Bring your right arm, wrap it underneath your left arm. Hands come to touch for the double bind or grab for your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen your arms up high. Exhale, draw them into your torso. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch in slow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. On your next inhale, lift up into star pose. Unravel your arms, reach your arms out to 10 and 2. Point your toes out, let your heels come in. Exhale, warrior 2 to the top of your mat. Inhale, reverse triangle, straighten through both knees and reach your right arm up and back. Maybe you even use your left hand, gently bring your left hand to your right wrist to help stretch your right arm up and over. Press down into both feet. One more inhale. Exhale, low lunge to the top of your mat. Inhale, high plank, top of a push-up. Option to either come down to your knees for knees, chest, chin, or go all the way to downward facing dog. If you do take knees, chest, chin, come to upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. That is our left side. We're going to go, or that's our right side. We're going to go right into the left now. On your next inhale, lift your left foot up high. Exhale, low lunge, foot in between your hands. Bring your left foot closer to your left hand. Maybe your right foot comes to the right a bit more. Inhale, crescent lunge. Reach your arms up high. Press down through your left knee or through your left foot. Bend your left knee. Option to bend and re-straighten your right knee if you need. Exhale, Shiva squat. Your right knee comes behind your left knee. Squeeze your inner thighs in towards each other. Hands on the mat or bring your hands to heart center. See if you can bring a little bit more balance to your stance here. And then if you have your block or stack of books, bring it right next to your left foot. Inhale, half moon. Straighten through your left and right legs. Keep a slight micro bend in your left knee. This might help you squeeze your left glute for stability. Reach your right arm up high. Flex through your right toes like you're trying to press them against a wall. That will really help with your balance. Take one more inhale. Exhale, horse pose. Drop your right foot towards the back of your mat. Hands to heart center. Sink your hips down. Take a few grounding breaths and then bring your left arm underneath your right, coming for a double bind, eagle arms. Inhale, lift your hands up high. Exhale, crunch them in. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Just one more round. You've got this. Make it your biggest one yet, your most intense yet. After you crunch in, inhale, star pose, reach up. Well done. Exhale, warrior 2, top of your mat. Inhale, reverse triangle, straighten your left knee, stretch your left arm up and back. Maybe use your right hand, bring it gently towards your left wrist. Stretch your left arm gently up and back. Take one more inhale. Exhale, low lunge to the top of your mat. Inhale, high plank, top of a push-up. Exhale, option for another knees, chest, chin, lowering down. Pull your hands back as you smooth into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Way to work it out, way to move. All right, lift your right leg up high to the sky. Exhale, low lunge. Bring your foot in between your hands and then spin your back foot flat on the mat. We're setting up for warrior 1. On your next inhale, lift your arms up, Virabhadrasana 1. Bend your right knee, press through your left back foot. Use your hands maybe as I'm doing to help guide your hips forward. So help to draw your right hip back and your left hip forward, squaring your torso forward. Take another inhale here. Exhale, pyramid pose. Straighten through your right knee. Face both sets of toes forward as you hinge forward. Hands come down to the ground. If you have 2 blocks, option to use blocks or maybe books or something. Try to hinge from your hips versus just trying to let your torso kind of hang there. Just try to use your hips to hinge you back. Maybe use your right thumb to draw your right hip back. Keep a micro bend in your right knee to help open up in your hamstrings. And breathe. Of course, always breathe. On your next exhale, wide-legged forward fold. You're going to walk your hands to the left side of your mat. Both sets of toes are going to point towards the left. Inhale, high halfway lift. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Try to keep your gaze towards the ground so that way you can open up in your hamstrings a little bit more. Keep a slight bend in your knees. Maybe you reach your hands behind you to help draw your torso a little bit closer towards the ground. On your next inhale, come to another high halfway lift in your wide-legged stance. Exhale, skandasana to the back of your mat again. Maybe you go a little deeper here. Maybe you flex your right toes towards your face. Take your time to set up your stance. Try to make sure that your right foot is in line with your left foot, so it's not too forward or not too back. Maybe you bring your hands to heart center, and then you're able to draw up and balance. Keep your right knee slightly bent so you can use your quad to engage. Now, this is not going to be graceful, but bear with me. Bring your left knee down to the ground and start to pivot forward, so that way your left leg is out to the side. You're going to have your left knee bent in a half hero pose. So your right leg is going to be extended, and then bring your hands either to your right toes or to your ankle or your shin for a half seated forward fold and a half hero's pose. So you're opening up the ligaments in your left knee. You're really utilizing this posture to help open up in your joints as well. Inhale, reach back up, and then swing your left leg forward. We're setting up for reverse tabletop. Bring your feet and your hands hip width apart, almost mat width apart. Take an inhale. Exhale, press down into your hands and your feet for reverse tabletop. You're shining your chest up and back. You're trying to press down through your feet to help lift your hips, squeeze your glutes and your hip flexors. Take one more inhale. And then start to walk your hands towards your feet, coming into Malasana. Maybe you're able to get there really smooth. Maybe you take a few hand steps like me. Bring your hands to heart center. Feel the openness in your hips that you've created here. Feel free to stay here as long as you want. When you're ready to move on, bring your hands down to the mat, push your hips up, step back to downward facing dog, and reset. You did a whole lot. Well done. Left side now. Inhale, lift your left leg up high to the sky. Exhale, low lunge, foot in between your hands. Spin your back foot flat to the mat, widen your stance. Inhale, warrior one on the left side. Bend in your left knee as you press your right foot back. Use your hands if you need to help draw your left hip back and your right hip forward a little bit. Square your torso to face forward. And take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Feel your hip flexor release on your right side. Take one more inhale. Exhale, pyramid pose. Straighten through your left knee. Reach your hands down to the ground. Point both sets of toes, so your back toes and your front toes to face forward. Maybe use your left thumb as I'm doing to help draw your left hip back a little bit so you really feel this in your left hamstrings. Keep a slight micro bend in your left knee as you fold forward. Keep breathing here. Feel the hinge in your hips and also feel your back line of your legs open up here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold to the right side of your mat now. Point both sets of toes to the right. Widen your stance if you need to. Hands come to the mat. Inhale, high halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hold just for a round of breath here. And then take another high halfway lift. Exhale, skandasana to the back of your mat, bending in your right knee. For me, I need to bring my left foot forward to come in line with my right foot. So that might be something you need to do. Take the time to find the right footing here, making sure that your left foot and your right foot are in a parallel line together. Hands come to heart center or rest them on the ground. And then let your right knee come down to the ground as you swivel slowly forward, coming into a half hero pose. So your right foot is on the outside of your right glute and your left leg is forward. Start to fold forward into a half seated forward fold in a half hero's pose. That's a lot of words, I know. Just find your breath here. Feel the openness in your ligaments happening. The longer you stay in this, the more ligament opening you'll feel. And then swing your right leg around to the front. Bring your feet close to your glutes, mat width apart. Keep your hands at least shoulder width apart. Coming into reverse tabletop on your next exhale. Push the ground away, lift your hips up. Squeeze through your glutes and your hip flexors to help lift up. Press down through your hands, especially your fingertips. One more inhale. And then start to walk your hands towards your feet until you come into yogi squat again. Take deep breaths in and out. You did it. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Option to stay here as long as you want. If you want to move on, if you're ready for the last part of our flow, bring your hands down to the mat, gently push your hips up, step back to a downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look forward. Come to your mid-mat distance. So come to the middle of your mat. Bring your feet out about hip width apart at least, maybe a little wider, maybe not. If you didn't watch the demo, I definitely recommend you doing that right now. On your next inhale, stable chair, reach your arms up high, bend your knees. Exhale, drinking bird, reach your arms back, come to the balls of your feet. Now keep bending in your knees, sending your knees forward as your hips come down. Once your hips are in line with your knees, bring your knees gently to the mat, press through the balls of your feet, hands come to your heels for camel pose, Ustrasana. To come out of this, tuck your chin to your chest. Now use the momentum here on your inhale to swing your hips back, coming back into drinking bird. Inhale, stable chair, reach your arms up. We're going to do this a couple more times. Now, as you are in drinking bird and you're bending your knees and sending your hips down, go as slow as you need. When you bring your knees down, make sure that you're sending your hips forward in line with your knees. When you're swinging back into drinking bird from your knees, really use the thought of sending your hips back, but not too forcefully, so that way you don't lose your balance. It's just the right amount, not too much force, not too little. It's the Goldilocks amount. Take as many rounds of this as you want to take, and you can always pause it. You can always go back and re-look at it, whatever you need. Once you are done practicing, we will come into Malasana. So from your knees, you'll push your hips up and back to come into this yogi squat, your last one. Once your hands are at heart center, press your elbows into your inner thighs into your elbows. Bring your hands down to the mat and then bring yourself to tabletop before coming on to your glutes. Bring your feet out in front of you, reaching towards the top of your mat. Maybe you scooch your thighs under a little bit more. Reach your arms up high. Exhale, seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Just a little reset and just really revel in this posture right now. You've done so much to open up through your hips, through your hamstrings. So really let yourself sink in here. Press your glutes into the mat. On your next inhale, reach back up. Exhale, lower all the way down to your back. We're going to be setting up for recline bound angle. Bring the soles of your feet to touch, your knees wide. If you need to move your glutes around, go for it. I've got those thick thighs that save lives, so I'm always moving my glutes. And you just got to do what you got to do to get comfortable. Bring your hands by your knees, draw your knees back to touch, and then bring your feet up. Catch the inside or outside edges of your knees or your ankles or your shins for happy baby, Ananda Balasana. Try to bring your shoulders square onto the mat as well as your tailbone. Try to draw your low back, your tailbone down. If that means you've got to bring your hands to your ankles or lower, do it. Maybe you straighten one knee. Maybe you straighten through both. Take what you need here. On your next exhale, come to recline tabletop. Your knees come to touch. Flex your feet towards your face. Make a T with your arms. Take an inhale here. Exhale, easy twist to the right. Drop your knees to the right as your gaze comes over your left shoulder. Take what you need. Maybe you even draw your left leg up and over a little bit more over your right just to help get a deeper twist here. Take it whatever you need. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, easy twist to the left, just to reset your spine and just help break up any toxin deposits that you might be having residing in your side bodies, and just to really open up and feel all the benefits of everything you just did. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to your chest. And then come to Shavasana, corpse pose, rest pose, take up space, become like a starfish, open up here and rest.
way to get after it. By now, as you've gone through the flow, you probably saw what I meant by it's going to challenge you a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different, might even turn your head a little bit. But you did it, you made it through. So proud of you. Just super well done. With your Shavasana, wherever you ended up, whether you're on your back, on your stomach, on your side, before you get up, before you end your time, I'm gonna ask you to take a deep, deep, deep breath in. You're gonna take such a long inhale that you can count in your head for 3, 2, 1. And then you're gonna hold it at the top. And then you're gonna breathe out for 3, 2, 1. And then you're gonna hold at the bottom. You're gonna pause for a second before you take air in and just really feel that empty space in your torso, in your lungs. So your breath is gonna go like this. Just like that. Breathe in for 3, pause. Breathe out for 3, pause. Just take that at least one time. Maybe it felt really good and you want to take it twice. Maybe you want to take it 3 times or even 10. However many you want to take is fine. You can do it as many times as you want. But right now with me, before you get off your mat, we're going to take a deep breath in and then a deep breath out with pauses in between. Because a lot of time we are so quick to go through life. A lot of the time we're so quick to get up and get stuff started that we don't honor what we just did with just an extra moment of our time. So this round of breath is to honor this extra moment in time, to honor what we just did. So I'm going to do it with you. Breathe in for 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. Release for 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. And inhale. If you keep going after this, keep going. You don't have to stop. But thank you for taking time for yourself today and giving yourself that extra moment to honor all the amazing work you just did.